Hey everyone, raise your hand if one of these characteristics is you, because I'm going to raise my hand for a lot of them. So here we go. Confident, focused, that's it, strong. You back there, I know you want to raise your hand. Go ahead, raise your hand. Clear, logical. Is everyone's hands up? Okay, great. Put them down. We'll discuss more why I asked you to do that. Welcome everyone to the Find Your Voice show, where we are helping high-profile Black women leaders like you to find their voice from the inside out. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. We welcome you here today to the Find Your Voice show and reminding you that becoming a transformational public speaker is 80% transformation and 20% technique. So as always, if you can become that transformational leader, then indeed what will follow is the way you speak. You will be transformational. You will be inspirational. You will be motivational. But you need to become it first. So remember some of those characteristics that I just said, and all of us raised our hand. And in fact, I believe if I took a survey of all of you who raised your hand, and I said, listen, keep your hand up if you believe that those are those traits that helped you get to the position that you're in, many of you would say, absolutely. I had to be logical. I had to be confident. I had to be strong. I had to be focused and structured and clear and intellectual. And that's great, because this is how we operate. This is glorified. That's how you got to where you are. Even for me, as a single parent, I found that I was these things too, because I was the CEO, CMO, CFO, CIO, CTO of my family. Why are we even talking about those traits today? Some of you may have an inkling of what I'm going to be speaking about. And that is about masculine and feminine energy. They are polarities and they are energy bodies that have nothing to do with gender. So we use the words masculine and feminine as characteristic identification. So this is about the energy. Now, the energy that I've been focusing on and that I had you raise your hand for are a part of the masculine energy. It is about how you get to places or how it's cultivated in culture. Now, I want to use these words in our culture, and I say our meaning American culture. However, in many cultures around the world, because not just America is watching this, I know if I were to have a global survey and ask you, is it or are these the traits that have gotten you into the leadership positions or into the entrepreneurial positions that you are currently in? You probably say yes. But what's the problem here? There has to be a word. There's this word that I actually am not very fond of, but I have to use it today. No, I don't. No, I don't have to use the word. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I just got a revelation as I'm talking to you. Usually we say there has to be a balance of the feminine and the masculine energies. And I actually don't like the word balance, because what's balanced for me may not necessarily be balanced for you. And the word that I usually use, and I don't know why it didn't come to me, is alignment. So there needs to be perfect alignment within yourself for the masculine and the feminine energy bodies that you have. Now, I want to talk to us as women, and I want to hone in first on Black women, because there is a feeling of having to be strong. If you're not strong, like, you are the strong Black woman. We know that is what has characteristically been said of us. We also know that you better be confident along with that strength. Again, masculine energy, not having to do with you not being a woman. You're every woman, as Shaka Khan and Whitney have told us. And when you just think about these other characteristics as a Black woman in leadership, as a Black woman who has her own thriving business, and it seems like if you are any other way, you're going to lose. If you're any other way, you'll have the appearance of being weak. Versus what is considered to be strong. If we say we're soft, we know that's classified as being weak. Heart-centered. If you're too sensitive, that's looked at as being weak. But let's get a real clear head around this today. Those qualities that I just named, it's not about being weak. Those are what are considered the feminine energy. Being intuitive, generous, nurturing, creative, collaborative, caring, being expressive. That's operating in the feminine. How do you begin to operate in the feminine, in a world that glorifies the masculine, in a world where it seems you just get ahead if you're that way? Today, let's focus in on being logical versus being intuitive. So, because of course I'm looking at my notebook today, so I want to make sure I get this right for you. Being logical, a couple of things we can think about that. We can think of it in terms of reason and being able to reason through those very important decisions. And we can think about being logical as, the ultimate way to solve a problem. Be logical when it comes to looking at and solving a problem. We look at the other polarity, which is the feminine energy. We think about being intuitive. So what does being intuitive mean? Yielding, I love that word, yielding to the feeling within. You ever had something like a hunch? Okay. Have you ever had something like a gut feeling? Do you feel that God is speaking to you within? The divine is saying something within your soul? Do you notice how for each of these, if we applied logic to it, it just wouldn't work? You couldn't reason about that feeling that you have. I'm trying to point here. There you go, right here. That you can't reason that feeling that you have in your gut, right? The reasoning around it. I don't know. It just came to me. The hunch that you had to do X, Y, Z instead of A, B, C. And somehow X, Y, Z winds up being the winner. It's about that intuition or being intuitive. Before I go on, please subscribe, like, comment, and of course, share with someone else. And if you happen to share on social media, make sure you tag me at Coach Buyanzi, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. If you've heard something here that's of value to you. Back to the matter at hand. What would change in your life if you shifted from logic to intuition? How do you even do that? It goes back to the word, that one word that I just used, yielding. Yielding to the feeling, To be intuitive, it means you have to yield. It means that you have to give in to what you are feeling. And if you're not used to doing that, it can be hard because it is a matter of going from here to here. What did I just do? That's holding on. And this is letting go. What could shift if you simply let go and went into that feminine energy, got in touch with what you are feeling, and went with that decision? Listen, all of this takes practice. If you are very logical, you've gotten that way over a period of time. You're probably an expert at logic, and that's great. And I'm not telling you you shouldn't be that way. What is balanced for you? What is aligned to you? Try it if you haven't been operating like that. Make sure that you leave a comment below because I want to hear about your logic and your shift. Now, I want to tell you in what situation I did a huge intuitive move. And that is something I talk about. I've talked about it a couple of times on my videos, and that was leaving my first career as a teacher. If you have listened to the story, I said at the beginning of the year, I knew that would be my last year. How did I know that would be my last year? Well, it was a feeling around that. There was a feeling around that. I want to explain to you what I had as a teacher. I had tenure. Tenure, I don't know about other states, but in the state of New Jersey, when you have tenure, it's almost impossible to get fired. You'd have to do something illegal, or if the population really goes down and they don't need you. But other than that, you're kind of in that position until you leave. I had tenure. I had great health insurance. I had good pay. New Jersey in the United States is one of the top paying states in the country. I had an increase of salary every year. And if I decided to get more of an education, get a master's degree, and at that time I didn't have my master's yet, I would get like big jumps in salary. And I had autonomy. Do you agree that that's a good gig? It was a good gig. And if you think about logic, logic tells you it doesn't make sense to leave a position like that for the unknown. But what did I do? I had to trust my gut. Of course, I did very logical moves. I planned things, but it all was spurred on by what? The gut feeling, the hunch I had, my intuition. And I have never looked back since. In fact, just yesterday, I was with my dad and he said, "Hey, would you ever go back to teaching?" And I don't curse, but I said something like, "No way in hell." I don't curse to my dad. I mean, I curse definitely, but not to my dad. But it was something like, there's no way in hell I would ever go back to teaching. Not because it was bad, but because when that chapter ended, it was a gut move. I did it, and I haven't looked back. What does that mean for you? I'm not telling you to do any huge decisions based upon your intuition and your feminine energy. However, what I am saying is possibly practice in some small ways, learning how to yield and learning how to listen to what it is that your intuition is saying. Let me know the results. This is going to take practice over some time, but I can't wait to hear about how it works out for you. And sometimes, by the way, you may get it wrong, but you know what? You get up, dust off. I can tell you in your logic, you've gotten some things wrong too. What'd you do? You got up, you dusted yourself off, and you kept moving. Press the subscribe button and make sure you click the little bell so that you can be informed when new content drops. I can't wait to hear your comments on this one. Mwah. Goodbye, Queen. And don't forget, operate in the feminine energy.